Hey everyone, and welcome to the GnWC NXT Takeover London preview and prediction show. I am the Duke,
No,
joined by my co-host.
no, no.
What?
You are not the Duke.
But this is
You're
how you
Angry
open the
Larry.
show.
It's how I
I say
open
I'm
the
the Duke,
show.
and then you give a random silly
No,
name.
no, my name is the Duke, so that's how I introduce myself.
Do you
So
ever give anybody the secret recipe to Bush's baked beans?
what?
I don't know.
What's going on?
That's a thing. You got to YouTube that because that's
No,
a
I
thing.
understand. Yeah, the dog's name is Duke. I
Yeah,
get it. Yep. Yeah.
yeah,
See, I'm on it.
yeah.
I'm
No,
on it.
if you're not like 27 years old or older, you probably don't get that.
I know, and we both definitely are older than that. So, but he is actually Angry Larry. Angry Larry, that's your name. That's how you would introduce yourself.
Okay.
But he did a bang up job with the intro up until that point. He's
Lesson
Angry
learned.
Larry. I'm the He's Angry Larry. I'm the Duke. And yes, we are going to be talking about NXT Takeover London because it is absolutely the most exciting show, at least for me personally. I think for Larry too, of the holiday season for us wrestling fans. So with that, Larry's gonna anchor it all the way through. So I'm gonna let him take the reins, and he'll throw it to me every now and then. Here we go.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen one of our preview and prediction shows before, what we like to do is we like to speculate on who's going to win. Sometimes we go over the top and kind of be silly about the results and kind of put in storylines where there's no storylines just for the sake of saying it in case it happens and we can kind of pound our chest on Twitter or whatever. But at the same time, we also like to try to preview and predict the match order when it's not announced beforehand, and most of the time it's not, except for the main event, and you can kind of speculate co-main events and something based on storylines, the more popular ones. But it's an interesting dynamic in this show because there's only been 5 announced matches. 2 of them are women's matches, 2 of them are singles matches, and then there's a tag team match. But I think in NXT fashion, they like to do things different and, so to speak, better. It almost reminds me like when Heyman used to write for SmackDown. Like, he always wanted to make SmackDown beat Raw. And it's technically not the case here, but it just feels like NXT is out to beat the main roster. And I think in doing so, they do things a little bit differently. And that's why I think they're going to start off hot with the women's match. Asuka versus Emma with Dana Brooke. And Duke, I feel like Asuka is obviously going to win this. I don't think there's any reason to think Emma would win this. But the main thing coming out of this match is Asuka is going to make Emma look strong, to quote a more popular cliche. And at the same time, I think a seed's going to be sown to really drive something between Emma and Dana Brooke. Maybe Asuka respects Emma after the match, and Dana doesn't take kindly to that. And it leads to an Emma versus Dana Brooke feud. Meanwhile, Asuka gets elevated probably towards Bayley for whatever February's NXT Takeover show is going to be. Also, anybody who's been watching the product has noticed that Dana used to be the leader with Emma being the lackey. And now the roles are reversed and Emma seems like the prominent leader, often talking down to Dana, telling her to calm down and stuff. I think the seed's been planted, and I think these two are going to split. Asuka's going to elevate, and then Emma's going to be in this feud with Dana Brooke for at least the next couple of months or a series of TV tapings. What do you think?
I pretty much agree. I think the idea. I think the story they've been telling. Wow, I'll get that out eventually. I think the story they've been telling with Emma is that she's sort of the grizzled veteran of the duo, and it's just like, hey, stop being so emotional about things. Sometimes you got to put your game face on. So, like that's what's coming across, and it's kind of interesting because Dana looks older than Emma. Just from a physical appearance standpoint, Dana looks older than Emma. She may be older than Emma, but Emma, they're really playing their parts well, where you have Dana becoming sort of catty and stuff like that, and then Emma is like, no, let's get down to business. I have to pay attention to what's going on here because I want to do something of significance here. and that just plays into her overall story with going up to the main roster, being just not used properly at all, and then coming back down to NXT and sort of being the veteran of the women's division.
Yeah.
That being said, yes, I would see Asuka winning and moving closer to the title picture. I don't know who gets in her way. I would love it for Eva Marie to try to get in her way.
Just because we want to see her get smacked in the face.
Because everyone enjoys seeing Eva Marie lose because she's awful for the business.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess, well, to an extent she's not, but that's for a different show. Anywho,
I think the one thing about Asuka here, like the one dynamic of this match which makes NXT great, is that even if Asuka loses and by interference and stuff, I don't think her stock drops. Emma's might be elevated, but long term, big picture, I don't see where in that scenario it helps anything going forward. Because Bayley's going to need somebody else unless she does a couple things with Nia Jax and Eva Marie or whatever. Hey, how about maybe more speculation for our next weekly show, but based on the results of NXT Takeover London. But man, I don't know if I'd be so pessimistic about Asuka joining Eva Marie and Nia Jax.
I don't think she's a heel.
I don't think, you know.
I don't think she's a heel. I don't like she could play that role, but she's gonna have to change her outfit. Like she can't be like this colorful.
Oh, she can wear a black mask to the ring.
yeah, just a black. Just change the mask.
just invert the colors. Whatever's red is green, you know, kind of stuff.
I guess you could do something like that, but yeah, she's the reverse negative of herself.
Yeah, she's the reverse Asuka.
Yeah,
you can spell her name backwards. I think it's still Asuka.
It's not a palindrome.
Oh, my bad.
Anywho, but yeah, I that would be interesting. I think it would be more interesting if she joins Bayley because what she wears more like they look like a tag team already.
Yeah, Bayley's gonna need somebody to fight though.
Yeah,
and I don't want it to be Eva Marie, and I don't think it's going to be Emma or Dana Brooke coming off of this match. So it's probably Asuka, and it's the one downside to NXT. And I was going to bring this up in the Apollo versus Corbin match, but I'll just mention it now because it's relevant. With NXT being developmental, things escalate faster than you expect them to where like it's Asuka's second live special. Was she even in the last live? Yeah, she was in the last live special, right? Yeah, that was her debut, I think. Yeah, she fought Dana Brooke. My bad. Things escalate quickly, and if Bayley is going to win and Asuka is going to win, the next Takeover show is probably 2 months away, 3 months away. Probably February, I would say. I think that's when it was last year. I wouldn't put it past them fighting right away. So they move quick because there's only one series of taping, maybe two this time around, 2 series of TV tapings in between live specials. So it's got to be quick, and I think that's where we're headed here. But we'll see.
I'll just say I think, and I'm just going to throw this out there. I think initially Asuka becomes Bayley's backup because I don't know what. We'll get to it in a second. I don't know what's going to happen with the Nia Jax Bayley match.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, but I feel like Bayley's going to need some backup.
Yeah.
And it will be Asuka, and sort of the line will be drawn in the sand, and it won't be necessarily the same as the guys, but it'll be a similar situation to the guys where somebody let somebody down or somebody betrays somebody or whatever.
Right.
So on and so forth. Or Asuka's like, hey, I did my part. Let me have my thing, and instead of them doing the Joe thing, they say, okay, you know, instead of it being she has to betray her, it becomes 2 competitors.
Right.
Anyway, so that's that match.
Yeah. Speaking of lines in the sand and
holy crap,
mutual respect in a transition that probably makes no sense at all, but no,
it does.
I felt like saying
it.
It
makes sense in our head.
We have the next match is going to be the tag team championship match with the challengers Enzo and Big Cass fighting the champions Dash and Dawson. Now, in this match, my first thought whenever I think about like predicting a title match is how long has the champions have the titles, and does it make sense for them to lose them based on that number. And I think currently they're at like 50 something days with the titles from the time they won them, not the time we saw them win them, I think. And I would have to double check that because the TV tapings kind of like to throw a wrench in that number.
Right.
But if they lost them on this show, they would not be the quickest ever to lose the tag titles. The Wyatts actually only held them for 49 days in 2013. So based on that, I'm comfortable in saying that I think it's Enzo and Cass's time to really be the tag team in this company, even though they're rotating relatively quick, and I think that's another reason why I'm putting this prediction in the title change. Enzo and Cass could do a lot more with a win here than another loss. They're hot. The crowd loves them. They respond to his every word. They love Carmella. And Dash and Dawson are kind of like the hated, I always want to say like the Enforcer, Arn Anderson type teams in the past. But doesn't mean they can't be the team to chase Enzo and Cass, even though heels chasing championships never work. But in this situation, I think it would, because of all the like blurring the lines on the rules that Dash and Dawson have done, and going after people's legs and stuff, and the Vaudevillains teasing a heel turn and stuff like that. I think the tag team's like in such turmoil, but a good kind of turmoil in NXT, that it's going to set like a precedence that any of these tag teams can win the title at any time. And you might even actually see Dash and Dawson be the first two-time NXT champions through a rematch or the next live event or whatever. And that'd be pretty good, because there's never been a repeat NXT champion ever. And eventually it's going to happen. And, tag team division's strong enough so it could happen. Even the Vaudevillains could be it. But I think Enzo and Cass are going to be going to win the titles here. What about you?
I would like to see Enzo and Cass win. I'm not sure if it's time, but at the same time, man, like they were so hot at Takeover, Brooklyn. I mean, they just lit up the crowd, and it was fantastic.
And we're talking a crowd about 30 times the size or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but that was unreal.
Yeah.
Like it was just, they're going to Brooklyn, I get it, but at the same time, it's just, I think Europe gets just as on board with them, because
I heard the crowds have been hot for the house shows so far. Loudest crowds ever, stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that's what everyone says. I mean, and if you see it, if you're watching social media and stuff like that, people in the UK just get wrestling, and they're into wrestling. Like, they understand, and maybe it's because carnivals or carnies are still a big thing there, or have or sustained longer, and wrestling is part of carny culture, so it kind of just goes hand in hand, that it's just more part of their culture, even though wrestling is a Western, or is sort of a U.S. product. But I feel like it's, I don't know. I just feel like European crowds get it more. So I would like to see Enzo and Cass win, and I mean, if they are to lead off the show, you know what? I'll go ahead and call them too.
That's why I originally had them
it's hard
first.
Not to. It's just really hard not to, because it's like, it makes sense for Dash and Dawson to keep it longer, because they've been so just like, they just dissect everyone like they do.
Yeah.
But I think what's going to happen is you're going to see more aggression.
They can get meaner and more brutal in the loss.
Yeah. The promo that they did, that Enzo and Cass did, was unreal. And Carmella was even in on it. She even kept the intensity with them. It was awesome. And I think it probably gave people chills in the crowd, because it's like, wow, these guys, like, they know their character, but they know how to put emotion into their character too.
Yeah.
And like a range of emotions, not just the same old, they're not just the fun guys anymore. Now they're the guys that are going to chop your head off,
Yeah.
So It's
So you got Enzo and Cass?
I got Enzo and Cass,
All right.
and I think they're gonna, I think they're gonna come out with some aggression,
Yeah.
and they might even. I don't know that they would necessarily have a heel turn. Like you said, they've kind of blurred the lines on that a lot, and not in a bad way. Not like the main roster stuff, but where it's like someone can take it to another level, and they're not necessarily a heel, but man, they're fighting a lot more aggressive.
Right, but
So,
they're a fun crowd gets behind them kind of tag team, and I agree with you. I originally had this match scheduled first, and if it was first, then it's definitely Cass and Enzo getting the crowd hot and into it. But I think it's going to be a different dynamic. I think Asuka is going to be the one to get the crowd into it, and that's why that. But moving on from this match, we have a interesting match here because these two guys have been promoted as like unstoppable forces in their tenure in NXT, and I'm talking about the most recent Baron Corbin, and the match is Apollo Crews versus Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin's been around. He's been around, since at least 2013 on TV shows, but he hasn't been the unstoppable force he is now until pretty much late 2014, maybe early 2015. I kind of, through catching up on the WWE Network, I kind of lost the time frame when he actually really debuted. But he's had big wins in his career, and he's definitely an unstoppable monster. And Apollo Crews has had, a cup of tea compared to that since August, being the unstoppable, I still think undefeated monster. I think he won that match with Finn Balor through DQ, or maybe it was just no contest. But and this is what I was saying before with Asuka and Emma and the escalation of storylines and stuff. We have two beasts right here, and I don't see where the winner goes from here, and I don't see where the loser goes, because I think this is a match where the winner has nowhere to go and the loser is looked less upon. I think it hurts both guys being in this match because, let's face it, and I'll save this nugget for later, but I think I know where NXT is going to go after this show, and it's going to be great. The crowd's going to love it, but where does that leave these people here? I don't know. Corbin is a good heel. He's missing something. He's missing an it factor, and the whole silent lone wolf, I let my fists do my talking for me kind of approach, it's kind of cool, but I think the way he does it, it comes across as lazy, and that's not like a knock on him. It's just on his appearance in the ring. And I've always said it, Baron Corbin is the biggest, baddest dude to not look like the biggest, baddest dude in the world. And I think I've been saying that since he's debuted. Like, he's a monster, he destroys people, but if you look at him, it's just like, you take a piece of candy from him, is all I'm saying. I don't know what that means, but it felt like...
No, I get what you're saying.
It felt like something I would like to say. But
he's more pretty than
he doesn't,
than his character portrays.
And even when he's being himself on Breaking Ground, you're kind of just like, he's not like a bad dude. He's not like the most lovable guy, but he's not like a bad dude either. He's just unique. He's different. He likes to be by himself. He likes weird and unique things. And it's like, all right. I don't know. I'm just not invested in him the way I probably should be. And maybe that's more on me. And, getting married to my ideas about people, or first impressions early on and stuff. As for a winner in this match, Duke, I don't really know. I'll say Apollo Crews wins because he has the look and he has more charisma than Baron Corbin portrays in the ring. And I think they can do more with Apollo Crews winning and Baron Corbin losing than they can do the other way around. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm going to pick Corbin just to pick the other side.
Yeah.
So there's a winner and loser in our predictions. How about that?
That sounds good. I mean, listen, it's a toss-up, right?
It really is. And you're right. And who knows? Maybe they've got a bigger. Maybe these guys are going to run a program for a little bit. Maybe.
Maybe. I thought that with Rhino and Corbin too, or Joe and Corbin, but it just seems like they escalate stuff so quickly that you don't get like that 3-month program between teams anymore.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which is good and bad. I mean, it might be the reason why we love NXT, because everything's always different, evolving, people getting promoted, stuff like that. But
well, you're not seeing the same match over and over and over and over.
Right, on NXT for 3 weeks, and then on the pay-per-view, and then again on NXT for another week, then the next pay-per-view. It's
right. Yeah, you're not seeing something that
it's all in the pacing of NXT and how it's presented on TV and how few live specials they actually have. They feel like events.
Yep. So I'm going to pick Corbin, and I don't know, maybe they'll surprise us, and you know, the loser doesn't come out of this.
Steve Blackman jumps in the ring and nunchucks him.
Oh yeah, Steve Blackman. Yeah. We had to mention. We can't go a podcast without Steve Blackman being mentioned.
If the Lethal Weapon Steve Blackman jumped into this, the crowd would pop huge. I think they even know who he is.
Huge pop.
They probably think he was the guy that sold him a T-shirt an hour before. Honestly, that's not a knock on Steve Blackman. That's a knock on
T-shirt guy.
That's a knock on London vendors, I think.
Oh,
but whatever. But yeah, I think this match. It's the interesting dynamic of NXT is you don't really know, even if you think you know, kind of deal, and that leads us to our next match.
Yeah.
For the women's championship, Nia Jax, the challenger, against Bayley, the champion, and I think this is the only match on the card, Duke, where I can clearly back up the truck and bet all my money on Bayley, because I don't see any way at all that Bayley loses to Nia Jax. I don't know. I just don't. Looking beyond to the direction of the next shows and stuff, and who Nia Jax could fight if she had the title and stuff like that, and the matches Bayley has had and the interviews she had and the segments she's done, I just don't see taking the title off of her. She's the most hottest superstar, including the main roster. I'm sure she gets talked about the most on Twitter and gets all the internet impressions that, whatever people monitor. And I don't know. I just don't think she lost any steam. I think she has more steam than ever. And I think they're going to ride with it.
Yeah. It's one of those, you look at things from a character standpoint, but then you also have to look at things from the big tagline, what's best for business. And Bayley is one of the best things for WWE business, period, right now. Sasha would be right there with her if they didn't put her in this long cooldown period on the main roster.
It's almost to the point where it's like, please don't go, Bayley. Really has like a big meaning to it, because she's better in NXT than if she would go to the main roster.
She wouldn't be taken seriously on the main roster.
Right.
So, I would, if I were in wrestling, I know there's most likely, well, I say I know, and then I say most likely. There's most likely a lot more money by going to the main roster, and that's why a lot of people do it. But, they're just getting along or going along to get along. It's like, well,
it's a dream too. I want to wrestle. I want to wrestle for WWE, and it feels more like wrestling for WWE if you're on the main roster and on Raw.
Yeah,
if you're on NXT, even though it is WWE, you know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But I guess if I were coming into it now, if I were a wrestler right now, and I was in NXT, and I was in a top spot on NXT, I'd want to become a grizzled veteran in NXT long before I'd want to move on. But that's kind of my mentality is, I don't need to make a ton of money as long as I can be fulfilled in what I do. So it could just be, you never know. There's financial things. There's all kinds of other things. So, but yeah, I say all that to say Bayley is the best thing going in NXT, and they are obviously investing in lots of story to feed to her, with Nia Jax, with Asuka, with Emma even coming. I mean, think about that. So you get all the other stories done, and Emma's still around, and Emma was like what brought a lot of people. Emma versus Paige was what brought a lot of people around to women's wrestling. Emma versus Paige was what made Bayley, Sasha, Charlotte, and Becky all go, holy crap, they're going to actually let us wrestle. So if you bring that full circle and you've got Emma versus Bayley at some point, and Emma used to be, that the happy bubble queen, right? Or no, that Bubbles was
Emma.
Bubbles wasn't Emma. Bubbles was Alexa. But
no, Bubbles
anyway.
was Emma.
Oh, Bubbles was. Oh yeah, she
Yeah.
had the bubble gun.
Yeah.
That's right. So you have where Emma started colliding with, Bayley, who's like Emma 2.0, in a way, and wow, that could be they could run a program. So anyway, and Emma has shown a propensity to just stay right where she is and just let them do fun stuff with her. So I don't know. I don't know how you get out of this without Bayley winning.
And the one thing NXT doesn't need is a screw job ending.
Thank you. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I just don't want to see Eva Marie somehow get involved. I want to see Eva Marie get kicked out. That's what I want to see. And that you talk about a huge pop. That'd be a huge pop.
I want to see
Eva
every
Marie.
diva in the locker room, heels and faces, come to the ring, drag Eva Marie out, but not through, but like through the back door. And then just like throw her out the back door, not even through the dressing room. Like just find that like one emergency exit in the building where they just open it and they all just toss her out and close the door. And then the fans cheer and it goes back to the match and then Bayley wins and the fans are even more happy.
Yeah. That's a little involved.
See Blackman outside as soon as you open the door and he's there nunchucking a garbage can.
Yep, exactly.
So
what
you
the
have
world needs now is more Steve Blackman.
so you have.
So I still got Bayley.
Bayley.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So to kind of
hang on real quick.
Yeah.
I think Nia Jax is great.
No, she's tremendous.
I think she needs to be the monster. Like that's something you haven't had in the Divas or in women's division of NXT or Divas on the main roster. You haven't had this big monster. Tamina should have been built that way, but they built her as
Karma's time. Awesome Khan Karma's time was too short, and
right.
Beth Phoenix was like your biggest monster, but even she was petite in stature.
Right. Right.
You know, so but you gotta go back to like Bull Nakano.
You finally got that again, and it's someone who's related to The Rock, so that gives her a lot.
Maybe she should be the one to show up and knock Roman Reigns out, so Sheamus can get the victory. That'd be great too. But also to speak on Nia Jax, I think she could be a good champion. I just don't think it's time now. So
it's not yet,
right?
Yeah, not yet.
So speaking on that too, and when is the time and when is not the time? Because you are talking about developmental, and your goal is to graduate these people to the main roster, so your main roster has more stability. More legitimacy and stuff like that, and because like it is a stepping stone, it's these people are working their way to the top and they want to get there. So when is the right time? Well, that also is the question for our main event match, which is Samoa Joe versus the champion Finn Balor for the NXT Championship. Did they call it heavyweight? They just call it NXT Championship, right?
NXT Championship.
Yeah. When is the time? And I think when you're talking about NXT and graduating superstars to the next level, I think like the most obvious thing is Raw after WrestleMania. I think that's like, you can talk about the season premiere of Raw being in September to match up with other fall shows and stuff like that. Now, the season premiere is the day after WrestleMania. That's when everything's reset. That's when people come into the company. That's really even when people start getting released from their contracts, although it didn't happen this year. You have that period of like, it's almost like a transfer window where people get graduated from NXT, people get released and stuff like that. The best way to do it is to get your cup of tea in the Royal Rumble match, maybe. And this only goes for the men, because women don't have a Royal Rumble match. You get your cup of tea in Royal Rumble, and then you get your full start, or you're still doing both shows right around WrestleMania or thereafter. And I think that's where Finn Balor comes into the mix. I think when he drops the title, he's making the transition to the main roster. And I don't think dropping the title in London is when it's going to happen. I don't know. They are thin though on the main roster, and they may welcome him, especially if he's debuts in the Royal Rumble match and stuff like that. But I think Samoa Joe is in NXT to put people over, based on his legitimacy and notoriety. And I think Samoa Joe's time on the main roster is going to come too. Just like maybe if Rhino sticks around in Raw, like he didn't do anything spectacular in NXT. He put people over, and now he's back on. Now he's a face on Raw right now. If he sticks around, I don't know yet, but I think Joe's going to fit that role. And I think Finn Balor's time with the title is going to extend past this event, and probably the next live show is when he's gonna lose their title. So I do expect Finn Balor to win here. I don't expect any sort of interference on whoever the winner of the Apollo Crews versus Corbin match. I don't expect any shenanigans. I think it's a straightforward, clean, technical, hell of a match between Finn and Samoa Joe, with Finn winning. What do you got, Duke?
I'm with you on pretty much all of that. And yeah, Finn's going over. And if we kind of take into account the media call with Triple H this week, basically it seems that he and Fergal Devitt, aka Finn Balor, are on the same page that they don't think he's necessarily ready for the main roster yet, because he's an amazing in-ring performer, and he's got this crazy entrance down and all this stuff that they've worked on, but a live environment, promos in a live environment, we've seen people fall down on that so often, and how it can really hurt where they're going, and can really hurt whether they're getting the right response from the crowd and stuff like that. So I think, and that's what Triple H alluded to, was that it's different. It's very different from Japan. In Japan, they watch it like it's a sporting event, and so you have your big spots. You sort of pander to the crowd a little bit, but it's more like you're performing exercise, and it's almost to an extent similar to like a cheerleading competition or something like that. Not to denigrate it, but just that's what you're seeing. You're seeing performance art, and people respond. People watch it from a very with a very technical eye. There's not this big merch push. You're not seeing people in the crowd with signs. You're barely seeing people cheer. You just hear them. And so it's do your thing in the ring to impress people. And he does that. But then when you come over here, WWE style is you got to be good on the mic too. And he's still working on that. And he's been getting really good at that. But something being recorded versus being live every single week, completely different thing. So I say all that to say he needs more time to really develop that side of things. And like I said, it sounds like Triple H and he are on the same page, that they feel that's what he needs to be working on. But also, if you hear any interviews with him, he's very, and I love how we're not really, neither one of us are really talking about the match. We're kind of talking about the business aspect of it. But if you hear interviews with Finn Balor, he's talking more about, we're building something here. We're building something here. And to me, that tells me that he's very involved in the process of NXT, and how, I'm not saying he's making up-down decisions on people or anything like that, but he's very involved. And I feel like Triple H is training him in a similar way that he kind of trained himself, where it's like, this is what you need to know about production. This is what you need, like training him to be like a decision maker type guy who's on the roster, someone they could use in the future, like a William Regal or something like that. So, it's time for him to go. And yeah, maybe you're right that it's after WrestleMania, the lights go dark and everybody's like, oh, it's going to be the Wyatts. And then you hear, doo, 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 so,
yeah, because his entrance would be hot in that Raw after WrestleMania crowd. His entrance would not be hot in December in Jacksonville, Florida.
Correct.
what I mean.
Absolutely.
But okay, so we both have Finn, and the one last thing I want to say about Finn in this match, and I don't want to discredit Joe at all. He's going to put on a hell of a match. He's going to do his job, and he'll be very much welcomed in the main roster, and he may even get there before Finn Balor. But it's not Finn's time yet, and it's not Finn's time because not only because he's not ready, but part of the not ready is that the main roster is not ready for Finn Balor. He'll be lost in mediocrity, and I think that was a big selling point from what I read for Finn signing with the WWE is that, okay, it's great, I'll go to NXT, we'll make NXT special, but when I get called up, I don't want to be in purgatory. I want something for me, and I think that's what it is. Now, there was only 5 matches, Duke announced on the card. There's never been a pre-show match as far as I remember on an NXT live takeover event. But if you were to speculate of a 6th match being added, or maybe something that would go on the pre-show, who do you think might fit the bill for that match?
Ty Dillinger versus Elias Sampson.
Not bad. I have Ty Dillinger versus Bull Dempsey on mine. Okay. I also have any combination of the Hype Bros versus the Vaudevillains versus Jordan and Gable. Whether it's a 3-way tag match or whether it's just a tag match between 2 of the teams, that could be a situation here. But I do have something. Yeah. I know you want to say something right now, and I hope you don't blow my spot here. But I do have a bold prediction for a 6th match.
Oh God, I think I know what you're gonna say, and it's something that just popped in my head a while ago, and
that's why I'm not letting you talk. That's why I'm not letting you talk. I'll let you talk though. Why don't you say it?
Well, we may not be saying the same thing, so go ahead. I'll let you have it if you say what I'm gonna say.
Sami Zayn versus Neville.
Ooh, that's not what I was gonna say, but that's more likely. What? Oh no, it's absolutely. Yeah, that's way more likely than what I was going to say. So I'm not even going to say what I was going to say. I'll talk about it offline.
It was announced that Sami Zayn would not be wrestling on this event, though. But he's wrestled yesterday as of this taping, which is on Friday. I think today's Friday, right?
Yeah. Friday the 11th.
Yeah. Yep. Sami Zayn has wrestled, and he's wrestling on this tour. Neville is over there. Sami Zayn versus Neville.
And Neville has disappeared from main roster TV for the past week.
He was on Raw, wasn't he? No? Well, he's in England. That's why he's not on the TV.
Sure.
But he was on Raw? I'm pretty sure he was.
He was not on Raw.
All right, my bad. Because I thought my dad made a comment, oh, look who it is. Because he always says, hey, Neville's always on TV. I thought he made that comment, but we'll iron that out offline.
It wasn't. Promise.
Okay. So, yeah, that would be an amazing match. It might take the steam out of the sail of the rest of the card, though. But nevertheless, my bold prediction, though, does involve Sami Zayn confronting Finn Balor after the match. Not in a heel way, but in a, hey, I'm back, I'm going to shake your hand, and I'm coming for what's really mine.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect bold prediction, and it just makes sense because, they've been teasing his return.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're even showing, I'm really amazed at how they're showing Sami Zayn as, hey, he's this main roster guy. Yeah. Sami Zayn fought through a shoulder injury.
Yeah, he's not coming back because of the injury. They're almost making it seem like he's back because he was in the main roster. Like, Sami Zayn returns.
It was just like there was the injury, but they're showing, hey, this guy was injured and took John Cena to the limit.
Yeah.
Is sort of the story they're telling. And it's just like this guy could be the new face of the company after this injury, after he finishes with this injury. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's almost the story they're telling. So, and that's the perfect story to put up against Finn Balor, who is the face of NXT. That's absolutely perfect for him to step in the ring and be like, all right, you've had your time. Now I'm going to take back what's rightfully mine.
Right.
And, they have a whatever. And then you can have Sami Zayn having to go through all the guys who think they deserve it more because they've been doing it while he was gone. Corbin, Cruz. But that's where you put Corbin and Cruz, regardless of who wins. They have fantastic matches with Sami Zayn,
Yeah.
So they both lose, but they have great matches with Sami Zayn. And then he even has to go through the Monster Joe. So it's yeah.
But now it's in a relatively short period of time because I'm speculating based on recent, based on the trend that the next NXT Live special is going to be in February. So, you don't have the TV time to go through the gauntlet of wrestlers for Sami Zayn, But since he was injured and he's a superstar, he might get the special consideration like, hey, listen, he's next in line. Now he's back, he's next in line. So why doesn't everyone fight it out to see who the number one contender is post that match?
Well, the crowd's going to go nuts as soon as the main event's over, and it's going to end, a few minutes early. Not a ton early because you don't have to because it's on the network. But it'll end a couple of minutes early, and then, as everyone's really cheering for Balor, all of a sudden you're going to hear, whoa, and the crowd will go insane.
Insane. That's good. I like.
I
see what you did there. I like it.
Yeah.
Sick, bro.
The Zaniacs will go insane.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a good thing. Do you have any other bold predictions here?
No, I mean you kind of called all the best ones, so I'm not gonna submit anything inferior to what you've called.
I wonder where Hideo Itami is, honestly, because he hasn't been shown on TV. After the injury, he was shown on TV. He spoke, and then he's been disappeared too. I think maybe in the last Takeover special they showed him at ringside. Maybe in those special seats where they rotate people like Scott Hall in and out of, and they're like, "Hey, look who's ringside." Well, I see the same people in the back from before. It's like you're not fooling me.
Yeah. They had him in the same places. I think they had it. No, you're right. It was in the seats.
Because
seats and all that. So yeah.
But there's nothing about him anywhere, and not even like references or mentions of him. So I wonder
I feel like that's very purposeful.
Yeah.
So
maybe, but he spoke about his injury. I mean, it's I think it was already known that Owens hurt him. I think he even commented on that. So I don't think it's going to be any speculation, surprise, like, hey, Sami Zayn, you're the guy that hurt me,
No, I don't mean like that.
Yeah.
Don't talk about him for a while, so when people hear his music, it's like, holy crap, he's back.
He's back,
So, or maybe they do it like Sami Zayn, and they actually promote him coming back.
Yeah.
Maybe they do that.
Maybe. So this is definitely the special, and I'm thankful that there's TLC and NXT Takeover, England, London this week. I don't necessarily have to choose one or the other. I'll watch them both. I'm a wrestling fan. But do you have anything else for London?
Oh yeah. Well, if you're actually listening to this, don't forget that London. That if you're in the U.S., it's going to be in prime time for London. So it's going to be like 3:00 in the afternoon for us.
Yeah.
So you may not see it live if you got to work.
3 p.m. Eastern time.
3 p.m. Eastern time.
Pacific.
Noon Pacific. Yeah. Correct. And
1 Mountain, 2 Central.
1 Mountain, 2 Central. Yeah. Anyway, so it's
I think 11 for Alaska and I think 10 a.m. for Hawaii. Honestly. Maybe not.
It's gonna be at a different time.
I don't know where Steve Blackman lives, so I can't give him a personal comment on when to tune into the network. But check your local listings. Card subject to change and all that.
So anyway,
there's no more disclaimers on the page, Duke. I have nothing else to read.
Good. So anyway, it is going to be at a different time, so you may not catch it live. Stay off social media if you don't catch it live.
Yeah, stay off social media.
Stay off your Facebook. Stay off your Twitter. Stay off of your favorite wrestling sites. Stay off. That's my biggest. I'm not putting it out there. Hey, don't miss it. Skip work or whatever. I'm saying stay off social media.
I mean, listen, it's on the internet anyway. So stay at work, get paid, and watch it at the same time. That's an Angry Larry life hack for you.
Angry Larry teaching you how to possibly get fired.
Possibly, but I think that about wraps it up. Thank you for listening. I got the social media stuff on the bottom of the page. As always, I am the Duke, and I am seeing you, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are.
I'm the Duke. Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is for you. And he's actually Angry Larry. That's your new name, actually Angry Larry.
Actually Angry Larry, AAL.
Ow. Well, if you be my bodyguard, I'll be your long lost pal.
That's wow. We're dating references now. So, you know what? I'll see your little bit of Chevy Chase there, even though he was just in the video. Who was it? Paul Simon? Paul?
Yep.
Okay. I'll see that, and I'll raise you a later.